Coming up, MythBusters Revisited.
We answer our critics and do it again.
It's a wild ride as the MythBusters jump headlong into challenging their detractors.
Does anyone else have any suggestions?
Was plywood builder a balsa? Did exploding gas tank drive you nuts? How about exploding cola? Air conditioning, or even walking in the rain? And did blown away fall flat? If you were one of the critics, the MythBusters are going to take you on.
It's payback time and payback's a...
Who are the MythBusters? Adam Savage
I reject your reality and substitute my own.
and Jamie Heineman.
We're either going to die or we're going to fly.
Between them, more than 30 years special effects experience.
That was intense.
They don't just tell the myths, they put them to the test.
You know, one of the things that I appreciate most about this show that's different than a lot of other shows on television is that we're willing to go back to something we've done and say we screwed it up.
You bet.
The revisit episodes are among my favorite ones ever.
So what's up next?
The first one is Blown Away.
So what on earth did we get wrong with Blown Away?
Does being shot really throw you back through the air? Not according to the MythBusters. But some viewers disagreed. The first time round, because both the pig and Buster were hung from a hook, their center of gravity was not like a human. They should have been supported around their chest. Even though the MythBusters showed how to do the blown away effect, some fans were unconvinced.
So how are we going to set this one right?
Well, we need to come up with a different rig that will support the body more on its center of gravity. So I think we should get Tori to arrange that, and it shouldn't be that hard.
I think we should also go to the new biggest gun we found we have access to, and this time shoot him with a .50 caliber.
Yeah, if that won't do it, then nothing's gonna.
Well, an RPG would. But this myth is about more conventional shootings. First, the build team has got to make a center of gravity rig for Buster.
They're all skin and bones.
Tori and Grant are going to recycle the previous rig, but support Buster in a different way.
I'm going to extend a bar from his chest out to the original pig rig, and that any amount of pressure would knock him back.
Buster will now be supported at his chest, exactly where he'll get shot. This means all the bullet's energy will be transferred into blowing him away.
Okay, now the question is, how much force is it going to take to get him off of there?
The team need to prove that only a minimal force will knock him off. Because if a tiny force can make him fall down, then a powerful bullet should send him flying back.
You're going to throw him over with a glove. Okay, try not to hurt him. That was rad. Maybe you should use both gloves.
If the glove fits, throw it.
Okay, wow.
He needs something a little heavier, like a bolt from the blue.
Across the shot. That's where that one's going.
Good shot.
The gloves are off, so Tori opts for a baseball instead.
Yeah! That's it.
It's strike 3 for Buster.
I just tested the rig. If I was able to knock the dummy off with a baseball, a bullet is going to have that much more force. It should be able to knock it off, and then we'll be able to see if it knocks it 6 feet back.
Now, Buster's got a date on the range, and he needs to look his best. So, Tori makes him a new head, while Carrie carves out a bulletproof plate. The impenetrable steel will ensure that the bullet's full kinetic energy will be transferred to Buster, and maybe knock him back.
If we manage to capture all of the bullet's energy on this plate and Buster still doesn't get blown back, I think that we can positively say that this myth is completely and totally busted.
And at the Alameda County firing range, it's time to put that to the test once and for all. Buster gets ready to stare down the barrel. Just like last time, he'll be shot from 22 feet. That's the average distance for a fatal shooting. With Buster on the frame, it's time for a quick demonstration.
Just go ahead and try to hit the dummy with the ball.
That was the slow ball.
Why don't you try?
Give us the Belleci fastball.
Strike one.
It looked to me like that just knocked him straight down. You
And
actually
that's-
levered against his neck, and he went kind of dropped.
But that's perfect. I mean, that's what this whole rig is designed to do.
But Buster's not happy.
You guys have f***ed me long enough.
Buster's on a
It's payback
It's
time.
payback time, and payback's a...
Forget Hannibal Lecter. An angry Buster is what nightmares are made of.
You know what's funny is that when you put this on, you can smell, and you get all these sense memories of blowing him up and dropping him off a cliff, and there's a little salt water, a little rotting pig. It's like a trip down memory lane. You want to try?
No thanks.
Yeah.
Before Buster faces the firing squad, he first needs his bulletproof vest. He's ready to take one for the team. And first up, it's the shotgun.
Okay, 12 gauge deer slug at 20 feet. And 3, 2, 1.
His head came off.
Well, he'd certainly be dead, but a Hollywood special this wasn't.
He didn't fly back
That's
6
okay.
feet.
No, he just crumpled.
He just fell right where he was.
I mean, his feet
Like-
are still exactly where they were,
Yeah.
except one leg is broken.
Broken leg is the least of his worries, as the high speed shows.
See the bullet hitting? I can see him sliding off the rig, and he's moving backwards maybe an inch. This is exactly what we saw the last time we did this test.
He just got shot. That's
This is
it.
the deer slug with the rig in the center of his gravity, just as we've been asked to do, busted. Let's move to the 50 cal.
But before the dreaded 50 caliber, the MythBusters have a rather rainy revisit.
So running in the rain. What could they say we got wrong on that one?
The problem apparently is that we didn't use real rain.
When Adam and Jamie first got soaked for science,
Feel kind of sexy.
they used artificial rain. And their results were surprising. Over a set distance, you get wetter in the rain if you run. But viewers weren't happy. The rain was all wrong.
I guess we could answer this by waiting for a rainstorm and doing the test again, maybe even doubling the length of the walking and running course, and run 3 times and walk 3 times and see what the data says.
First things first, it's those fetish fantasies. Time for the boys to rubber up.
JB feels really sexy in this. Wears it all the time on the weekends. I've come into the shop when he doesn't know anyone's here. It's like, prancing around. It's amazing.
Suited up, they're ready for the rain, and to start, they're going to walk. Just like in the original test, they've weighed their overalls when dry and will weigh them again after their soaking saunter to see how much rainwater they've absorbed. And this time, they're also doing the same with their caps.
It's getting kind of wet.
The rubber suits prevent their own sweat from contaminating the results.
Hey, whenever you take it off, just stick it right in.
Adam's sodden suit gained 20 grams. Next up, it's convict look-alike Jamie. To silence their critics, the MythBusters keep walking the walk. It's all going swimmingly. But just when they're about to run, disaster strikes. The rain stops and the sun comes out to spoil this myth, at least for now. The whimsical weather has scuppered the MythBusters run versus walk revisit.
Well, That didn't work at all.
San Francisco's weather patterns are just a little too fickle.
Which is why we went with manufactured rain in the first place. Here we are now, we're out of time.
Sounds like we need some help.
Tori, Grant, come on. They gotta wear the gimp suit.
Oh yeah, these things.
Had to be a superhero.
Did you guys wash these?
That's all right.
Great.
So it's down to the build team to take on the challenge of concluding this soggy saga. Although they're not exactly thrilled at the thought.
Why are we doing this again? Didn't Jamie and Adam already do this experiment?
Yeah, but they made their rain. They took a warehouse and it was all man-made, so it was really, really consistent. We're working with some random Mother Nature and see if we can get a different reading.
And so why aren't they doing it?
Because they don't want to get wet again.
That's my point.
37 and a half.
It's a good point, but those are your orders. So they mark out the 100-foot course, the same length as the original experiment. But it's hardly raining cats and dogs.
Sweet.
Let's just stay on rain watch, and the minute it starts getting, we'll be ready to go, like, get all the stuff into the point where you could just, like, jump in the gimp suits and go for it.
To the gimp cage. And we're just like,
This is such a strange feeling.
They don the sweat barrier rubber,
Don't say anything.
and then their pre-weight overalls. This time, one will run and one will walk simultaneously,
Yeah, look at you.
so they're exposed to the same rainfall.
all right.
All right, you ready to go to work?
All right, who's doing what first?
All right, we got a chart here.
I am walking first, and you are
I am
running.
running.
Okay.
Correct. And go. And stop.
The suits are off and weighed. And the result? Tori's gained 10 grams in his 24-second walk, and Grant's went up by 8 grams in his 10-second run.
Okay, so test number 2. You're running, I'm walking.
Yeah.
Ready?
All right. Ready? 1, 2, 3, go.
And they're off. Except it's not exactly a tropical monsoon. With the weigh-in, Tori's in for a surprise.
It's lighter than before I went out. How is that possible?
It's just not raining hard enough to overcome the margin of error. But then, the heavens open. The race is now on.
I am walking, you're running. You
Okay.
ready? Ready, set, go.
These guys are troopers. They're not going to let a little rain dampen their parade. It's a long, saturated, and sometimes miserable afternoon for Grant and Tori.
Go.
But after 4 more tests, they've got enough results to satisfy their critics.
So, how'd you guys do? Did you get a lot of runs in?
We did 6 different runs, and our results actually contradicted yours.
Really?
Yeah, we showed that the runner gets less wet than the walker.
Yeah. In fact, on average, we found that the runner collected 4 grams less water than the walker.
Well, you've got a larger sample size, and I guess it may be that some artifact in our artificial rain skewed the results. So I'm okay with saying that this myth is actually confirmed.
I guess it is better to run than walk in the rain. Good work.
Hey, thanks.
So, exploding cola cans.
Yeah, this is a variation on the biscuit bullet story that we did.
Well, we already revisited that one. We're getting pretty postmodern now when we're revisiting a revisit. What did we screw up on this one?
You mean, what did you screw up?
The first time around, the MythBusters put dough in a hot car to watch it explode. For the revisit, they used aerosols and cola cans. but got no pops from any soda. Success only came via a 300-degree oven.
Oh, yeah!
But Adam was just too impatient. He wrapped the car experiment too early. Cola will explode at 140 degrees, but it just takes time to get there.
So it is possible for a soda can to get hot enough in a car to explode. Mea culpa, myth confirmed.
Oh, is that it?
Actually, no. We got so much response to this. One fan even wrote in and said, what color of car would the MythBusters recommend for them to buy to prevent this from happening?
What will save you from those nightmare summer heat waves when sweat runs free like a Swedish sauna and the baking tarmac turns a TV dinner into toast? What will relieve the endless discomfort and stop soda cans exploding? A white car or a black car?
I've got two identical cars here. One white, one black. They're completely the same, inside and out. The only difference is the color. We're gonna leave them out in the sun all day on a beautiful sunny day and see which one of these heats up faster.
All right, the thermometers are set. Let's start the experiment.
Hey, it's just gone 9 o'clock. I'm going to check the temperatures on both the cars, mark them down, and come back in half an hour to see if there's any change. This one's already 88. Black car's already heating up faster.
As the sun soars in the sky, this one's gonna fry all day. Back home on the range, there's no rest for the wicked. Having been blasted but not blown away with a shotgun, Buster is hauled up for the 50 cal. With his head and leg back on, the team also add the half-inch thick steel so that the full force of the 50 cal is transferred to Buster's center of gravity.
Did you see the 50 caliber bullets?
That's rad.
It's like the Acme Bugs Bunny banana bullet.
That's huge!
They're little missiles. Are we gonna get a chance to shoot, I wonder?
Actually, no. That honor falls to its owner, Brian, even though he's yet to have a chance to shoot it.
Why haven't you fired it yet?
Well, it's too powerful for most of the local ranges, and the property I have to shoot it at is a swamp for 6 months out of the year.
Are you excited?
Oh yeah. It's kind of hard having this sitting at home and just looking at it day after day, night after night. Not that I really do that, but it sounds good.
Note to self, turn down invitations to Brian's place. It's Buster's last stand.
3, 2, 1.
Buster's down for the count, but he's not blown away.
That one rattled my bones. I still feel it.
But how much of the bullet's lethal momentum did he absorb?
Well, let's see.
The round hit Buster right at his center of gravity and pierced the plate.
Look at the deformation on this. That is a lot of kinetic energy.
But where did it end up?
Oh my God.
Wait.
Lodged in his spine.
Is that it? That's the bullet.
Buster took the force of the 50 cal and still just slumped.
We had 100% of the kinetic energy on Buster, and he still did not fly back. I would say that this is busted, busted, rebusted, and busted.
Well, yeah, I'm satisfied by looking at this. Let's check out the high-speed footage.
He went back a full 2.5 inches there.
If that.
He's not flying back.
No.
No, that wasn't flying back. Can we put this one to bed, please? Does anyone else have any goddamn suggestions for getting this one right? Because I think we got it.
Well, you know, let's just say you don't want to get shot by a gun, you know, but it's not going to throw you across the room for whatever little that's worth. And so stop doing it in the movies. If it doesn't make any sense, it just looks fake.
That's because it is. The fly-by-wire boys do it every time. But catch an older movie before this trick was invented and everyone just slumps. And the final nail in the coffin of this myth comes courtesy of Newton. His third law states that any action has an equal and opposite reaction. So if Buster was going to be blown away, then our sharpshooter would have to be thrown an equal distance backwards.
You know, I never cease to be amazed at how riled up people get when they think we've gotten something wrong. And I'm glad we redid Blown Away, but I don't think we came up with anything too radically new with it, do you?
No, and you know, we again talked to an expert. We talked to a guy from the FBI that is a crime scene investigator, and he verified that this just doesn't happen. It's busted again.
The next revisit is an awesome account of amateur aviation by one hell of a lucky builder. When blown off the roof, he transformed a piece of plywood into a parachute and carefully touched down a few stories below.
So plywood builder, what are the fans saying about it?
Well, it sounds like they're saying that we didn't take into consideration updraft.
Well, we did consider that, and we used the zip line for that. And it was pretty clear to me that unless you had clamps for hands, you know, that plywood was going to get ripped away with any significant wind.
Before the zip line, Adam and Jamie first did their average Joe test. But Buster, armed with plywood, simply plummeted to his death. But when they tested the effect of wind, viewers felt the speed they reached was too slow. Even though at only 15 miles an hour, controlling the board was impossible.
Oh, forget about controlling this thing. There's no control. I mean, I tried pushing my head up against it. At the peak, I could not get it. It's just like all over the place.
So, Jamie, what's the plan?
Well, let's just keep it simple. Let's just use the back of your pickup, and you know, we'll strap you in there. You'll hold on to the board and get it up to speed, and you want to see whether changing the angle increases the lift on the board, and also at what speed you can no longer hold on to the board.
Yeah, it sounds real safe.
They're abandoning the slow zip line test and trying to drive this myth into the ground. Tori's building a support system for the back of his truck, which he'll strap himself into while holding a piece of plywood above his head. Then Grant will put the pedal to the metal to see if Tori can get any plywood lift.
Just hold the plywood like this, see how long I can hold on.
All that remains is for Tori to secure it to his truck.
It doesn't slide back from side to side. It's not sliding, but look, it's sliding this way. That would be a bad thing.
That would not be so much plywood builder as the roadkill builder.
Maybe I could just screw into the bed. This is my truck. I'm not going to do that.
But sure enough, that's what he does. And for the ride of his life, Tori heads to the airport.
What we're looking for are two things. One, by varying the angle of attack, can he get lift? And two, at what speed can he no longer hold onto that sheet of plywood?
Well, as they unload, Tori's struggling to hold on at walking pace.
I don't know. I think this is going to hurt.
Everything we're about to do has all the elements of disaster. I mean, we've got Tori, who always ends up hurting himself, and somewhat of a sketchy plan.
But Tori seems unconcerned, even though it's his neck on the line.
I think it's more than your neck on the line.
Sweet.
Safety first, dude.
It's party time. Who's putting it on?
But a cup's not all he needs for this crazy stunt.
Ready?
You got that hurt. Oh, dude, what are you doing?
Sorry.
And I'm the mean one.
Suited up, Maverick Tori gets strapped in and feels the need for speed.
I'm ready. Let's go. Bring on a ply.
Meanwhile, which is hotter, the white car or the black car?
So it's 10 a.m., 1 hour into the experiment. The white car is at 1:06.
Okay, and the black car is at 1:15.
I'm actually amazed how fast the temperature's going up in these cars.
Already there's a 10-degree difference, but this myth has yet to get its fingers burnt.
So what's next?
We get to revisit explosive decompression.
Oh, that's one of my favorites. I thought you had really good findings on that one.
Well, we get a lot of email to the contrary.
Adam and Jamie thought they'd proved that a gunshot will not cause a pressurized plane to explosively decompress, as Hollywood would have us believe. But some fans weren't happy because the MythBusters did their tests on the ground. They argued that in a flying plane, the results would be different. Air would rush over the bullet hole and exacerbate the pressure difference, which might be enough to help rip the plane apart.
We do have a remnant from the previous experiment, and that is a door, and it even has a hole in it.
Oh, that'd be perfect. What we could do is build a chamber around the door, stick that in the wind tunnel and blow some air over it.
As long as you can clearly see whether air passing over that hole creates a significant suction.
Tori's rescued the DC-9 souvenir door, and he's building an airtight chamber around it. Once it's complete, they'll fill this chamber with smoke before putting it in a wind tunnel. Then they'll crank up the wind to mimic air moving round a plane, and watch to see if any smoke is sucked out of the bullet hole in the door.
It's perfect.
With the DC-9 chamber box signed, sealed, and delivered to the wind tunnel, it's time to get smoked up.
To make this experiment much more visual, we're going to fill Tori's acrylic box with smoke bombs. We've got two kinds. We've got one professional smoke cookie, and we also have a little of those cheap smoke bombs that you can get in Chinatown just for a little color.
You can always count on Carrie to bring that feminine touch to the MythBusters. Well, ain't that purty? With the fan off, no smoke escapes because the pressure inside and outside the box is equal. So what happens with the fan on?
And look at that!
Look at it.
It's pulling it out.
All right, that's cool.
And then we stop it, and the smoke stops coming out.
So that's cool. All right, so it's working.
Sure enough, the wind draws the smoke out of the box. But why?
Once we turn this fan on, air is rushing past the top of the box, right where the hole is, creating a low pressure zone. And since air is always going to flow from high pressure to low pressure, the smoke and air inside the box is flowing out of the box as the air rushes over it.
But because the escaping smoke is such a pathetic trickle, the team decide to see what the airspeed is.
Okay, we've got 4.6 miles per hour.
It's not very fast.
That's not very fast. The DC-9, what does it have, 561 miles per hour?
We're gonna need to go a lot faster.
I think we need some faster wind.
Tori is about to see if he can soar like the plywood builder, but the omens are not looking good.
Tori, you can't see it right now, but there are 3 vultures right on the runway.
Tori's ready to find the angle of lift and maybe fly with the vultures.
In 3, 2, 1, go! 15, 20.
To get lift, Tori's got to get the board above his head and angle it into the onrushing air,
35.
which is being measured by this anemometer.
40.
But already the speed is so fast, he just can't get it up.
There he goes, and it's off! 45 miles an hour, he cannot hold on any longer.
At 45 miles an hour, Tori got about as much lift as a lead balloon. But as they retrieve the bruised board, he's had an idea that may just help.
Tori, what do you want to do this time?
What I'm thinking is maybe I'll start off with the plywood above my head like this, and as you guys are picking up speed, I'll lower it down into the wind and see if I get any lift.
Okay, this is test number 2 with plywood. Starting in the horizontal position this time. Go! 10, 15, 20!
He dropped it at 15.
Well, if Tori was the original plywood builder, he'd now be dead.
What happened?
Well, as soon as, like, I had it up here like this, as soon as it started lowering, gravity took over and it just like, it came down and like chopped me.
Tori gets further padding and is ready to shoot the breeze again.
You ready?
Ready?
And Tori's motivation?
3,
Letting go of the board means death.
go! 10, 15!
And it's gone. It's looking like this myth is busted. Again. Tori can't hold on, let alone get any lift at just 15 miles an hour. But gusts around buildings get way higher than that.
The American Society of Civil Engineers reports that updrafts around tall buildings in U.S. cities can reach up to 90 miles per hour.
May not ever look like it from down below, but towering skyscrapers can funnel a gentle wind at street level into a fierce gale at the top.
90 miles per hour seems like a lot of speed, and that would definitely give a lot of lift on a piece of plywood. But you have to figure the faster it's going, the harder it is to control.
And so far, Tori can't even control it at 15 miles per hour. They need a new plan.
Well, Jamie, another classic that the fans said we completely screwed up was when we tested the myth that it's more fuel efficient to drive with your windows down than with your air conditioning on full blast.
At 55 miles an hour, the gas computer showed that AC on was more efficient. But in the identical car test, at 45 miles an hour, open windows won hands down, and the MythBusters screwed up by deciding this was the accurate result.
I'm totally surprised, and I hope we've answered it once and for all.
But it turns out both results were right. As you go faster, open window drag increases until you reach a speed where AC is more efficient.
And it turns out that that crossover point is just right between our two tests at 50 miles per hour.
So above that point, it's better to close the windows, use the AC. Below that point, roll your windows down, turn the AC off.
Exactly.
At the automobile oven.
All right, it's 1 o'clock. We're 4 hours into the experiment. It's still hot as hell. What do they read?
126 on the white car, 135 on the black.
The black car is a whopping 135 degrees, while the white seems to have peaked almost 10 degrees lower. As the baking continues, Tori's got a date with a flying builder. The plywood builder revisit is driving Tori crazy, but luckily Carrie's had a brainwave.
The whole problem is I'm fighting gravity the whole time.
I think that's actually the one thing that our viewers will still contest, is the fact that it's hard to hold a plywood 4x8 above your head anyway. So I'm thinking it would be a good idea if we could take out that variable, maybe make a brace on the back that you can just kind of let it rest on, so the only thing that you're going to be fighting is just the wind.
By making a support, the team will eliminate gravity. Now, Tori won't have to hold the board. Instead, he'll hang underneath as he waits to get lifted up.
This is perfect.
Go! 10, 15, 20!
Tori's dangling beneath the board. And then he's lifted. But once more, he can't hold on.
30, it's done! It's done! It's done! It's done! It's done! That was crazy! Yeah! You got up to 39.6 miles an hour. After 30 miles, you just flew.
I think that was a very accurate test. Because I mean, I had all my weight, I was hanging on it, it actually lifted me up, but then it ripped out of my hands.
So you lifted, but you couldn't hold on.
I couldn't hold on.
I think we have plywood builder down. I think this is beyond criticism at this point. We've taken out the gravity factor. all we're dealing with is wind, and you couldn't hold on.
I feel like we've actually proven something here.
So how did it go?
It actually went really well. We showed that with the right angle with the plywood, you could get lift. And I did actually get lifted. I just couldn't hold on to the plywood.
That's pretty much what we determined the first time we did this test. We know there's going to be high-speed winds at the top of reasonably tall buildings. We know that they're going to give some lift to the plywood, and a lot of the fans were right about that aspect of it. But really, it all comes down to whether or not you can control this plywood and direct your flight, which you can't. So this one's busted again, right?
Busted. Again.
Totally busted.
Good work.
Thank you.
Back at the explosive decompression revisit, the build team have had the wind sucked out of them.
So how'd it go with the suction?
We got a little bit of a trickle, but I mean, it wasn't a lot of suction at all.
What was the wind speed?
4.6 miles an hour.
Well, there's your problem. Well, it sounds to me like you need to get it going as fast as you can in the shop with what we have around here, and try to get at least 3 data points so we can see if there is any correlation between outside wind speed and suction.
Will air speeding over the bullet hole increase the pressure difference to cause explosive decompression? Time to collect some data. For data point 1, Grant adds some streamlined acrylic to get the max speed from their fan. Meanwhile, Carrie's made a barometer to tell the pressure difference the wind is causing.
Each inch that the water moves represents a 0.03613 difference in PSI.
The fan's on, and thanks to Grant's efforts, the wind speed is 5 times faster.
Wind speed 19.1. Are you seeing any change?
It's a tiny, tiny little change. I'll mark it.
So the difference in pressure is
0.002 PSI.
That's not very much.
No, I think Adams had more explosive farts than that.
they need faster wind again. So they resurrect a precious blast from the past, Adam and Jamie's jetpack.
If there is one scratch, one out-of-place bolt on this jetpack, Jamie and Adam will lock us in a closet for the rest of the season.
Here we go. Ready. Coming down.
It's the moment of truth. One scratch, and they're off the team.
Good here.
The Eagle has landed.
Sweet. She landed.
Woo.
Nice.
With the jetpack ready to blast the wind tunnel, the team attach a zinc fuselage extension to make the airflow more like that of a flying plane.
In 3, 2, 1. In 3, 2, 1.
The jetpack was never famous for being the most reliable machine.
Hate gasoline engines.
Maybe priming the carburetors will help. If it doesn't work now, Jamie will be far from happy.
Ready? In 3, 2, 1.
She's awake, but she's disappointingly weak. Even at full throttle, the wind speed over the bullet hole only reaches 38 miles an hour. And the barometer, it moves half an inch. That's a feeble 0.02 psi. Hardly ear-popping stuff.
It's not even close to the cruising 561 miles that we need to get to.
I mean, we could probably get faster speeds if we strap this into somebody's truck.
No sooner said than done. For data point 3, after Tori's attached the rig to his truck, he'll hit the freeway fast. But, of course, he'll keep it legal.
I don't think we're going to be able to drive, like the 90 or 100 miles an hour that I wanted to, because it's not legal. But, we'll be able to get it up there, maybe 65, maybe go a little bit over 65.
The team hit the road. As they look for a section of flat, empty freeway where they can do their test, Carrie's getting road rage.
Ooh, don't you know we're doing important scientific work
park here?
Her backseat driving does the trick, and Tori opens up the gas.
Okay, I'm going up to 65. Here we go.
Airflow reading 65, scooping into 70, and the barometer is reading an inch to an inch and a half.
Their third piece of data, 1.5 inches, 0.05 psi.
We go up to 85. Let's do 85.
Yeah!
Time to call it a day before Tori does anything he might regret.
So what'd you get?
We did manage to get 3 data points, and they do show a correlation between wind speed and suction at the hole.
Basically, as the wind increases, so does the suction, but the suction is still really tiny.
I've done the math on this, and a bullet-sized hole at altitude traveling at 500 miles per hour would only generate about 1.4 psi. If you add that onto the pressure differential that you and Adam already tested,
Which was about 8.5 psi.
even that still wouldn't be enough to cause explosive decompression.
That means it's busted.
Again.
Again.
In the car park cook-off, there's been a devastating technical fault.
Carrie, what's wrong with that clock? It's not moving.
I think the sun fried it.
It's so hot, it melted the clock.
Luckily, they've got an emergency replacement.
What do the temperatures say?
White car maintaining at 126. Black car 131.
And as the sun crawls across the sky, the team keep toiling until the shadows start to lengthen.
Okay, final half hour. What are the temperatures?
All right, Carrie, the white car is at 115 degrees. And the black car is at 120 degrees.
The last temperatures are in. Time for some conclusions.
We kind of figured the black car would get hotter, and it did, and it stayed hotter than the white car throughout the day.
So 10 degrees hotter, stays hotter longer. What do you buy, a white car or a black car?
Well, if you're concerned about heat, you should buy the white car.
Definitely, you should get a white car.
This one's relative to a story we did earlier called Car Capers, where we were shooting a gas tank with a rifle and trying to make it explode, and that did not happen. However, we got grief from viewers saying, well, you should have used a tracer round, that'd set off the gas tank.
That's not the myth that we were busting. The myth in Hollywood is that every bullet plus any given gas tank equals an explosion or a fire.
Adam's Hollywood effects equation was spot on. But when the MythBusters tried to solve it, shooting rounds into a gas tank just turned it into Swiss cheese. There were no sparks, no ignition, and certainly no explosion.
If there's anything we could be faulted for, it's not doing the classic MythBusters two-prong attack on a myth. We did not test the results. What kind of round will you get an explosion or a fire with? And that is a tracer round.
But aren't tracer rounds illegal?
Indeed they are, mon frere. Unless, that is, you have friends in the FBI.
At Alameda County Bomb Range, their FBI friend Frank is on hand to help.
Frank, are these our special bullets that you procured for us?
Yes, these are .223 caliber tracer rounds.
Well, what is it that makes them work?
The orange tip of the bullet contains phosphorus. When the round is fired, the friction with the air makes the phosphorus burn, which is why they glow and why they could ignite a gas tank. So it's a good job the fire crew is here then.
Of all the permutations, what's the worst possible case scenario for you guys?
I think the worst possible scenario at this point, due to the moderate winds and dry conditions we have, a fire starting, igniting, going over the hillside.
So wayward bullets could spell disaster.
All right then.
Sharpshooter Jamie is clipped in.
Okay, I'm loading.
And he's going to start by firing a single tracer into the half-filled gas tank.
3, 2, 1.
Think you hit it?
I don't know.
Adam goes in to take a closer look at the damage.
Well, he hit it. That's for sure. Right down there, about 7 o'clock here. I smell gas fumes, but obviously nothing caught on fire. Well, I guess what we got to do is plug these up and go for several rounds now.
It was a direct hit, but no explosion. Grant seals the wound as Jamie gets ready to unleash, this time, a whole clip of bullets into the tank.
Fire in the hole! Fire in the hole! 3, 2, 1.
Jamie begins unloading rapid fire. Direct hit after direct hit. But no explosion. But then, trouble.
Did you see that tracer shot up into the field?
Yeah, I did. Hold on a second. Smoke in the grass.
And I can see gasoline pouring out the front of the tank.
A tracer popped up into the field.
The range is shut down. Fire plus leaking gas, not ideal. So the fire crew get in to investigate.
They said the worst case scenario is grass gets on fire, grass through fence that can't be gotten through, wind heading that way where vehicles can't go.
Worst case scenario, and it happened.
How does it seem? Seems all right?
I don't see any smoke.
All right, cool.
They're off the hook, but the myth ain't so hot.
I've had my fun working off a full clip of incendiary rounds or tracer rounds here. I say, you guys pick your weapons.
Ammo all around.
Those will be for you.
Both of them?
Sure.
Sweet.
To silence the critics, they're going for broke. If this doesn't cause an explosion, nothing will.
Okay, is everybody loaded?
Loaded.
Okay, safety's off. Fire at will.
It's like General Custer's last stand, but with tracer rounds. And the tank? Nothing. Nada. Zip. This myth is surely busted again. 75 gunshots later, and the tank's got more holes than a donut shop. But Jamie wants to try once more with the tank further away.
The reason being that these tracer rounds ignite from air friction, and understandably, they're probably not going to ignite right as they come out of the barrel. It may take a little distance.
So they reposition the gun point another 50 feet back and top up the tank. With Grant safely out of the way,
And 3, 2, 1.
as the rounds fly, it's the same old story until, at last, we have fire. The high speed shows the moment of ignition, and who knows, if the tank was not like Swiss cheese, there may have even been an explosion.
The tracer round will, in fact, ignite gasoline in a tank, and if you had an enclosed tank, pressure plus fire plus the correct air-fuel mixture equals explosion. So I'd say we call this one confirmed, and everyone can go home and rest easy.
Why didn't we get an RPG? It would have been a lot faster.
That's the next revisit. Someone's going to write in and say, you guys should have used an RPG because that would definitely have blown up the car, and then we'll go get one of those, and then we'll blow up the car, and then there'll be some other problem.
And we're fine with that.
I don't know how to actually call this one. We busted it the first time. We confirmed it the second time without somehow reversing our previous results. Tracer rounds will blow up a gas tank.